We're doing something new. We're in another brand new subreddit, baby. In r slash best of Redditor updates with a post by direct-caterpillar77, which is technically not their post. They're just a poster. So the real post is by Victoria VC. Ooh. And I, 24 female, was just uninvited from a wedding that had already started. Am I overreacting? Bruh, how does that work? So, we're going to read this one out. This is just a little different. All the posts are all smashed together. So we're going to try this and do this. Today, my 24 male partner and I, 24 female, let's call him Eric, were invited to the wedding of one of his oldest friends from school. We received our save the date months ago, and the invite was addressed to Eric and Vicky. Our invite stated we were invited for the whole shebang: the service, the breakfast, and the evening reception. Our RSVP required both our dietary requirements for the breakfast, which we replied to ages ago. I thought this was pretty awesome and generous of the bride and groom, as I had never met either of them, and Eric was the only one close with the bride. It was a very nice gesture. The wedding is a few hours away from where we live, and since neither of us drive, I booked train tickets in advance, which came out to about 60 euros each return and an Airbnb, which worked out at about 90 euros between us. We don't earn a lot, so this is quite a big spend and justify. However, since they had invited us to the whole wedding, we thought it would be rude not to go. The bride also specified colors we should wear, so I bought a new outfit since I didn't have anything formal that would be suitable. Not the end of the world, but with Christmas coming up, it was a bit difficult, and I had to be really frugal all through November to make it work. Total spending was probably double what I would spend monthly on fun stuff like going out for dinner or drinks or new clothes. We got 2 service, and it was beautiful. The bride looked lovely, and it was very emotional. I get nervous at weddings. Couldn't say why. And so I hadn't eaten before. Figuring the 4-course breakfast would fill me up nicely. Ooh, 4-course breakfast. After the ceremony, we went straight into the venue to have drinks and sit down at tables. We were towards the back of the line into the venue, and so half of the congregation had already sat down. We glanced at the seating plan, saw Eric's name, and headed over. There was no place setting for me. Eric found his name, but there weren't any free seats at the table. Eric sat down, and I asked an usher whether there was a mistake. He didn't know. So we waved over the bride. She and I had never met before, but she seemed friendly until she opened her mouth. Oh no, you're not part of the breakfast. The invitation was just for the reception and service. You're welcome to come back later. This was in front of most of the guests who had already sat down in a big venue, probably 140-ish seats. The usher suggested I go to the pub. Eric didn't know what to do, but didn't want to cause a scene, so he stayed put and quiet. I quite literally have never felt so embarrassed and humiliated in my life. I left, and it was raining heavily. I hadn't brought an umbrella since it was an indoor wedding. And being in a rural place, I had to walk about 20 minutes to get anywhere else. The usher had suggested a pub where the other guests are. So I just kept walking, but my shoes were literally ruined and soaked through, as well as being pretty damn cold because it's December and I was dressed for a wedding. I get to the pub to find a handful of merrymakers drinking heavily at 2 p.m. in wedding clothes. Introduced myself kind of awkwardly as they were total strangers, and they were luckily really nice. They invited me to sit down with them and tell them about the service. all of them only being invited to the reception. Huh. I asked one of them if I could see their invite, and it was crystal clear that they were evening guests. There was no mention of the service or breakfast, nor their dietary requirements. I apparently was the only person who was invited and then uninvited to the whole do. Oh, I'm fucking angry. I sat with them and had some food because I was starving. But they all started leaving to get ready at about 4 p.m. Being a total stranger, I didn't think it best to ask to come with them. But I had never been to this town before. And besides Eric, I didn't know anybody. Since being ejected at 1:30 p.m.-ish, I was expected to hang around until about 7:30 p.m. when the reception started. Hell no. So I just left. I felt so unwelcome and unwanted that I just wanted to go. The evening dew will start in about half an hour without me, but I just can't bring myself to attend knowing that half the guests watched me being asked to leave by the bride herself. I traded my train ticket, which was a return for tomorrow, and now I'm traveling back alone. I texted Eric to tell him, but he didn't respond. I've been holding back tears since I was ejected 6 hours ago, and I feel completely torn. I don't understand what happened with the invite, whether it was a mistake or whether I was just supposed to know that it was only for Eric, despite being addressed to both of us, despite asking for both of our dietary requirements, despite explicitly stating we were invited to the whole wedding. Part of me feels like I should have gone to the evening reception too, but I'm soaked through. My hair and makeup look awful. My shoes are unwearable. I am currently barefoot on a really gross floor right now, and I'm freezing. I look a mess, and I feel so stupid. Did I mess up here? I feel like I've just been totally fucked over, and I'm really upset that Eric didn't stand up for me or say anything or leave the breakfast with me. Although I think that's less because of malice and more that he's just a bit of a hopeless when put on the spot. I've never heard of a wedding where you invite a plus one by name, but then they aren't invited to as much of the wedding as the other half of the couple. Nobody else at the wedding had this happen. I don't see how it can be personal since I've never met any of them before. I'm really upset. I can't wrap my head around how weird this has been. If this happened to you, what would you do? This wouldn't happen to me. I wouldn't be with a partner who wouldn't dip out with me. I wouldn't be with a partner who. The little bit of misogyny and patriarchy is leaking into me. Just a little bit of sexism. I would have had my girl sit down in my seat that has my name on it. Then I would have found the bride who I know because that's my friend and asked them, yo, I only got one seat over here. Are there any more chairs? No. The usher. The usher was found first. Hey, I need another chair over here. There's a chair missing. There's a chair and a seat placement. There's a seat placement missing for my girlfriend. Here's my invite. Here's my invite. Did you accidentally misplace it? Is she supposed to be at another table on accident? Swap her around with me real quick. And if I wouldn't. If I'm a girl, me as a man, I would never have a partner who would be that pussy. This is weak shit. Never, people, please. For my one listener in Cali and my one listener in Virginia. For shout out to the few hundred people watching your boy on TikTok. I don't know how consistently y'all spin back to my TikToks, but yeah. Probably not that many. It's just fucking TikTok. My brain is fried. Don't be like OP's boyfriend. Don't. If you don't like public, what's the word I'm looking for? Not public spats. If you don't like public confrontation, okay, just separate yourself. Don't sit there and twiddle your thumbs and just be to the point where you look up and your partner's already gone. That shit will get you left. Think about it. She had to leave out into the piss poor rain after being embarrassed in front of fucking 140 people. Man. Oh, shit. Things are different here. Since we're on the best Reddit updates, I can't just scroll to the comments. I have to read a singular relevant comment that this person grabbed that OP replied to. Okay, let's see this. By plain truthfulness, they comment, the person who messed up was the bride, who is an utter word I don't use, but she is, and Eric, who is appalling. I absolutely cannot believe that he didn't walk out with you. What the hell is he thinking? Did he used to date the bride or the bride's sister? OP replies, funny you say that. The maid of honor is his ex. Although we were not aware until we saw her name in the wedding booklet at the ceremony that she would even be there. However, there is a lot of bad blood between them. If she was going to intervene to remove anybody, it would have been him. No, bitch, you got played. Y'all both got played. He probably ended up fucking a maid of honor in the closet at that place. Updates 10 days later. Hold on, let me open this up real quick. Well, I see. I didn't need to open that up. Basically, I went to a wedding of my boyfriend's oldest friend from high school and got uninvited from the wedding breakfast as it was starting. My boyfriend stayed at the wedding. For some reason, my post was deleted. For convenience, here are screenshots that you can read what was there, which I just opened up real quick and I did not have to read because I technically already read it. Yeah. So, on to the proper updates. I hadn't expected this big reaction to my first post, and I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who gave advice and was supportive. I was feeling super shitty when I initially posted, and after an hour of drinking wine and reading your comments, I felt a lot more sane and calm. I just wanted to clarify a few things that people were confused about or that weren't clear in my first post. I'm in the UK. Bitch, you said euros. I knew you weren't in America. I knew you weren't in America. I didn't see that good old-fashioned dollar sign. Your money's strong right now. Is it? I don't know. It's probably not. That war is fucking everything up. And our weddings are different to the weddings that are held in the United States. Traditionally, there's a ceremony, the wedding breakfast, which is a sit-down 3-course meal. Although it's called breakfast, it is usually in the afternoon, followed by speeches. And then an evening reception, which is like a disco. It's not uncommon for people to invite only relatives and close friends to the ceremony and breakfast, then invite lots of evening guests for the reception. However, it is uncommon to invite somebody to the ceremony and reception, but not the breakfast, as then they are kind of left to entertain themselves somewhere for 6 hours. Having talked to friends and coworkers since last weekend, what happened to me was a serious no-no in terms of etiquette. Ooh, okay. Me and Eric have been together for nearly a year and a half. We live together, and we have a pretty strong relationship. Bullshit. Oh, maybe y'all do. Maybe. He had no past romantic connections with the bride. I'll call her Marie. which some people were asking about. They went to school together from the ages of 4 to 10 and remained in touch as pen pals slash Facebook friends since then. I would never do that. They rarely see each other in person, and the wedding was the first time he would see her in about 2 years. Oh, so y'all see each other in person. Okay. All right. There was zero phone signal at the venue. We noticed this when we arrived for the ceremony and were a little annoyed as the wedding had a hashtag, which we couldn't exactly tweet about with no signal. This is important later. We didn't know this until we arrived at the wedding, but the maid of honor, Helen, was Eric's ex-girlfriend. They were together for 3 years, and she cheated on him and dumped him. They have a lot of bad blood and do not have any contact with each other. Okay, so on to the update. I thought this was the update. After leaving the ceremony, I got on the train and went back to my hometown. I was on the train when I wrote my first post. When I got home, I told my parents everything, and they weren't particularly impressed. And like most of the posters here, they were perplexed that Eric hadn't come with me. My mum, I know you're from the United Kingdom when you say mum with a U. M-U-M. Me mum gave me a big hug. Let me stop. My mom gave me a big hug, ran me a bath, and poured me a glass of wine. I just tried to relax and forget about my day from hell. I still hadn't heard from Eric, but texted him to let him know I was home safe and would see him tomorrow. Eric texted me back at about 9 p.m. asking me what I meant by home. Home or the Airbnb that we had booked nearby to the venue. I clarified, and he said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Love you so much. The ex. I guess that's a kiss? Or is that a hug? Hugs and kisses? Kisses and hugs? What's the X's and O's? Which one is the hug and which one's the kiss? You guys tell me. Didn't really know what to make of it since the whole day had just been a massive fuck up. So I finished my wine, watched a Disney movie, and went to bed. The next morning, given I still hadn't really heard from Eric at all, I assumed he would be getting in at about midday. So I got up early and started wrapping Christmas presents. At 8 a.m., I heard a key in the door, and what do you know? It's Eric, still in his creased suit with red eyes and looking like death. He wasn't really making sense, so I made him a shower and warm up, made coffee, and decided to talk once he was looking human again. We sat down together and then pieced together his side of the story. Basically, once I had left, Eric was absolutely livid with Marie. He had frozen like a deer in headlights when she was asking me to go and was kicking himself that he hadn't done the right thing. About 10 minutes after I left, Marie turned around and said, "Oh, actually, a few people haven't turned up. Get Vicky to come back. We still have space for her now." And Eric tried to call me because there was no phone signal anywhere near the venue. He couldn't get in touch though, and Marie pretty much immediately said, "Oh, well, never mind. She didn't want to be here anyway," which was obviously a pile of crap and made Eric feel rubbish. The meal was a very formal sit-down affair, so we kind of just grinned and bared it. Assuming I would be coming back in the evening, Eric was the only person mentioned in the speeches by Marie's father, who wasn't a family member. Oh. And apparently, it was clear to everyone how disappointed he was. I wasn't there to share it with him. When I texted him at about 6 p.m. to let him know I was going home, he never received it. He was only able to text me at 9 p.m. by hiking down the road 5 minutes to find a signal. All the while, his ex Helen was being sickly sweet, asking where I was and why I didn't want to come and enjoy the party. Was I shy? Apparently, with quite the evil glint in her eye, like she had got exactly what she wanted. Neither of us knew she was the maid of honor until we got there. And given their bad relationship, Eric was pretty pissed off that Marie had failed to mention she had a prominent role in the wedding. Whether Helen was behind the seating area, I don't know. But if she was, and then Marie was just as bad in enabling it to happen, And people, is it bad to give the bride a black eye on her wedding day? So Eric stayed at the wedding. Why? Miserably, and went back to the Airbnb afterwards alone. He barely slept, feeling angry at Marie and Helen for fucking with us, and at himself for not sticking up for me, and left at 4:30 a.m. to get the first train home. Since why he was back at our place so early, he wasn't really apologetic to me at all. He didn't really seem to see how it was shitty for me. He more felt like he had been insulted by the situation and let down by his oldest friend. He is cutting off Marie and doesn't want anything else to do with her. Do you not see your partner as your partner? Do you just see her as an extension of yourself? You were insulted? Your girl spent hundreds of dollars, or maybe hundreds of euros, on a fit that got ruined. She was made fun of, made to feel like less than, made to be in an unknown place in a rural area with a bunch of motherfuckers she don't know. She could have been assaulted. So, yeah, that was Eric's take on the whole thing. To be honest, I was pretty pissed that in all of this, he hadn't really considered how I felt or what it had been like for me getting thrown out of the wedding. While what he had gone through was pretty crummy, he at least had been warm, dry, and well fed. A 4 fucking course meal, bruh. The indignation of your girlfriend being removed from an event you're at really isn't as bad as being the girlfriend, getting soaked in the rain, feeling humiliated, and all the rest of the other bullshit. So we talked, and I laid out why I wasn't okay with what happened and why his reaction wasn't okay. He can be a bit of a lemon sometimes, and this feels like one of those times. He didn't step up to the plate. He just let the world wash over him and acted as a bystander. I'm still hurt by his actions, and he still hasn't really apologized properly. I don't know if he understands what he did wrong too. Well, you should have said either. But this isn't a deal breaker for me. It's a heavy straw on the camel's back, but the camel is still standing. Let me keep reading. I'm fucking disappointed. We have a really lovely Christmas coming up, and after a really long autumn of working hard, all I want, I can't even read how much this just annoyed me. Oh my God. All I want is to go back to the happy place we were before this fuck up. And honestly, I don't want to think about it. So I know a lot of you guys are going to drag me over hot coals for this one. You damn right. But we're still together. I'm not going to break up with him over this, but it's a big dark mark on his record. As far as I'm concerned, he needs to get a lot of extra credit to get a pass this year, to use a terrible analogy. And I expect him to step up and really try to do better from now on. It's not really an ultimatum, but I'm willing to put this behind us if he can prove to me that he's invested in trying harder in this relationship from now on. If he doesn't, then I won't be sticking around. I love him a lot, but he needs to have my back and to be empathetic to what I'm going through. I'm sorry that this wasn't the victorious breakup story so many of you wanted, but I wanted a nice Christmas together. I'm not ruling it out as an option if things don't improve, but I want to give him another chance to prove this relationship is worth it. You're dumb. You're really dumb. You're really dumb. Ugh. I could cuss you the fuck out, but you're stupid. I don't like you. Let's continue on. Let's continue on reading this shit. So relevant comments, because that's how Best of Redditor Update works. I can't read a bunch of comments. It's all mine now, says. So they're quoting what OP said. So I know a lot of you guys are going to drag me over hot coals for this one, but we're still together. Yeah, that's the important thing. You haven't lost him. And as for dragging you over the coals, you're going to be the one to live with this selfish, conceited carpet. So, really, there's nothing more I can add that will push the point home more than some more occasions where he just dumps you at the side of the road because he's offended by how they disrespected him by treating you badly. Throw underscore the underscore switches comment makes a good point. He didn't even try to catch you up, go down the road to contact you, or even leave in disgust because all he could think about was his own hurt feelings. You got a great life coming. Oh man, LP replies to that. I've set a deadline in my head where I need to see significant improvement in a few areas of the relationship, which I have told him is important if he wants us to stay together. And if that doesn't happen, I'm gone. If he messes up big time before then, I'm gone. Just giving him one last chance to pull himself up by his bootstraps and prove it's worth staying for. OP stayed with this motherfucker for another 3 years before leaving. Ugh. This shit is draining me, bro. This shit is draining me. We can actually read some real comments now. Ugh. Let's go to the top comment. By Charlie's own nachos. Charlie's own chaos. I can't read, guys. Just like last time. I'm just out of it. 7K upvotes. Why on earth didn't he leave with her? I can't wrap my head around it. And Twisted Spin comments, replies, he saw himself as the wrong person. It's a different perspective. He never really thought he should try to make her feel better. He was just dealing with his humiliation at how his girlfriend was the pariah of the wedding. And Crazy Guy 75 replies, if that's the case, why didn't he leave? If I walk into the wedding and the literal first thing the bride does is assault me, I'm leaving. No, the reason the dude stayed is because he didn't take a single second to think about his girlfriend. He wasn't kicked out. He didn't get insulted. He didn't have to walk in the rain. No, nothing bad happened to him. So in his narcissistic eyes, nothing bad happened at all. When he got home, he found an angry girlfriend. Suddenly, he had a problem that affected him. And suddenly, it wasn't his fault. He tried to defend her and contact her, but he couldn't reach her and blah, 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 blah excuses. Because he knew he could never make mistakes because he's a narcissistic asshole. So if something got his girlfriend mad, it was either her or someone else's fault, not his. And therefore, she should stop making her problem into his so he can go back into his comfy routine of not caring about her problems. Ooh. But useful underscore language 2040 replies, leaving at 4:30 to catch the first train indicates he was genuinely upset, but never having considered that being stranded in a strange area with no signal in the rain and unsuitable clothing would be rubbish does demonstrate a pretty gross lack of empathy and consideration for others. And Crazy Guy 75 replies to that, I don't believe he slept. Dude totally just partied with his friends till near that time. The reason he left wasn't because he was upset or because he wanted to comfort her. It was because all the events were over and he missed his bed warmer when he got back and thus had no reason to stay. Yo, Crazy Guy 75 is crazy. He's dragging it. Ooh. And Lonely Tick 75 says, yep. Showed up still in his suit with bloodshot eyes and incoherent. That dude drank until the early train and his only sleep was what he could grab on the ride back. These guys are kind of spitting here. Doob Killer says, this is the UK, so he probably drank on the train as well. Our trains sell beer. Overpriced, but beer. I can't believe she stayed with that motherfucker for 3 more years. That's crazy. Ladies, don't give chances. Matter of fact, wait. Chances are fine, but there are yellow flags and red flags. A 3-strike method is fine, but this isn't baseball, so there are no real foul balls. This is why you guys have to get therapy, so you can have higher standards for yourself. You will know what is and is not unacceptable behavior, and you will not take unacceptable behavior lying down. This dude didn't even apologize. Why would you want to be with somebody that freezes up at the slightest bit of an inconvenience, confrontation, random shit that may or may not happen? Would you want somebody freezing up when somebody swerves into your lane in front of you, slams on their brakes? Boom, you're dead. Oh, shit. Sorry, honey. My faults that we're in the afterlife. I just froze up. Man, no, I don't even want to read the rest of these comments. I'm annoyed.